is Hido and welcome to the Pantheon, where today we're having a look at one of the secondary commanders from the Dungeons & Dragons commander set. And it's a big old dragon. It's Klauth. Brian Klauth. Unrivaled Ancient. 7 mana for a 4/4 with flying and haste. And it's a dragon. I do love me a dragon. Whenever it attacks, add X mana of any combination of colours where X is the total power of attacking creatures. Spend this mana only to cast spells. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Sorry about that. Not feeling too hot. But this is quite the cool dragon, isn't it? Everyone loves a lot of mana. Why don't we make a bunch of mana and then play some massive, massive spells? Really, really awesome. Speaking of things that are awesome, subscribing to my channel is pretty cool. Nice. If you like these videos, please do consider subscribing. I'm going to be making one of these for every legendary creature. And there's a lot of them. But without further ado, let's have a look at Brian Klauth. In at number 5, we've got Savage Ventmore and other ways to sort of generate mana on attacks. 6 mana for a 4/4 with flying. When it attacks, add red, 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 green, green, green. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Really, really powerful card. Couple of little combos going on. This can be used for activated abilities, so that might come up later. But this is a phenomenal card and does exactly what this wants. What this commander wants, because not only is this going to be attacking and generating 6 mana, if this is attacking with our commander on the field, they'll be generating another 4 mana as well, thanks to the fact that our commander's triggered ability. Cards similar to this, we've got Grand Warlord Rada, 4 mana for a 3/4 with haste. When one or more creatures you control attack, add that much mana in any combination of red and or green. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Really, really solid, allows you to get in. This is more sort of for a token-based deck. You know, we want to go really big on creatures, but this works fantastically with it. Then we've got Old Gnawbone. 7 mana for a 7/7 flying dragon. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. So this is a slightly different take on it. The cards that we talked about just then, they only generate mana for this turn, but the fact that these are treasures means that we keep them so we don't have to use them straight away. And it's just fantastic. We're going to have so many big creatures. Itself, if it deals damage, creates a 7 treasures, so amazing. Really, really good. Then we got Druid's Suppository. 3 mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, put a charge counter on Druid's whatever it is, you put it on it. Remove a charge counter from it. Add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. So this is very similar to Old Gnawbone. You know, the counters stay on the it, but then you can use them at a later turn. But it's really, really good. More sort of suited to a token-themed deck. Then we've got Sakiko, Mother of Summer. 6 mana for a 3/3. Ooh, big and powerful. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, add that much green to your mana pool. This mana doesn't cause mana burn until end of turn. This mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as phases end. So just another version of our commander. Yes, you have to actually deal the combat damage, but a lot of the creatures we talked about are flying or have some sort of evasion, so getting through shouldn't be that big of an issue. Then we've got Bear Umbra, 4 mana for an aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has, when this creature attacks, untap all lands you control and then totem armor. So if the creature would be destroyed, destroy this enchantment instead. So this is really good because untapping your lands, you know, shock horror, is really good and generates tons of mana. And also it gives +2/+2, so allowing us to get an extra 2 mana off our commander's ability. Pretty goddamn solid. Then we've got Mark of Sakiko, which is a smaller version of the Mother of Summer. 2 mana for an enchanted creature. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, add that much green to your mana pool. It doesn't leave as phases end. Really, really nice. We want to just make tons of mana in this deck, and all of these cards lead us to doing that. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Mana is the source of all wonder and love. Unlike my friend Dave, who's just the source of misery, unhappiness, and hatred. But that brings me on to my number 4 pick. It's Malignus. Very similar to Dave in a lot of ways. 5 mana for a star. Its power and toughness are each equal to half the highest life total among your opponents rounded up. Damage that will be dealt by Malignus can't be prevented. So, we want to deal combat... Well, we want to attack with massive creatures. Don't get much more massive than Malignus. 5 mana... Sorry about that. That came out of nowhere. 5 mana for a star, so it's going to be a 20/20 if no one's been dealt damage. Attack for 20, we've got 20 mana. Whoa, absolutely phenomenal. That's the theme of this section. Grathoma, All Devouring, is also fantastic with all of these massive creatures, as well as being just massive by itself. 5 mana for a 10/8. All creatures have, when this creature attacks, you may have it fight Grathoma, All Devouring. When it leaves the battlefield, each player draws cards equal to the amount of damage dealt to Grathoma this turn by sources that player controlled. So, if we attack with Malignus, deal 20 damage to this, we're going to draw 20 cards. Whew, that's pretty nice. And if, that's not what really we're about, we can just attack with this and get 10 mana. All pretty goddamn good for 5 mana. I love Grathoma. I just think it's fantastic. Then there's Thunderblast. 5 mana for a 7/2 with haste, so it can attack the turn it comes in, generate a bunch of mana. These sort of creatures with haste are a bit like a ritual, because you pay 5 mana attack, you get 7 mana back to cast on something else. Pretty good. It has Trample as long as it has a -1/-1 counter on it, and it has Persist, so if it dies, it comes back as a 6/1. Then we've got Kozilek, the Great Distortion. Massive idiot. 10 mana for a 12/12. Whenever you cast it, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. So this can be really nice. Getting a lot of things onto the field can really use up our resources. So getting Kozilek on there, drawing a bunch of cards, it's pretty solid. And then it has Menace. So, if we're attacking with it, we're going to get 12 mana and probably get the damage through. And we can discard a card from our hand with converted mana cost X. Counter-attack a spell with converted mana cost X. Pretty solid. Then, if we're attacking in and dealing damage, big drink. Hellcat Tyrant is fantastic and can lead to us, generating even more mana by stealing mana rocks. 6 mana for a 6/5 with flying and trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, gain control of all artifacts that player controls. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. That's pretty good, to be fair. You can win the game using old Gnawbone, was it? The one that makes treasures, the 7 mana 7/7. Or we can just steal a bunch of artifacts from our opponents and generate mana with them. So on attack, make 6 mana, steal everyone's artifacts. Pretty goddamn good. Then talking about cards that are like a ritual, Groundbreaker, triple green for an elemental, trample and haste. The end of turn, sacrifice it, but it's a 6/1, so for 3 mana, you attack, you get 6 mana, generating 3 mana. Cool little ritual. Sorry, I am sorry about this coughing. I don't want to give you COVID. Balefire Dragon, 7 mana for a 6/6 with flying. Whenever it deals combat damage to player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. Generate 6 mana, wipe the board. Pretty goddamn powerful. Brings me on to my number 3 pick. And at number 3, well, The problem with this commander is the mana it makes can only be used to cast spells, whereas, previous versions of this, like the dragon I showed you, could be used to activate abilities, and that's where you could get some combo off. But why we don't want to lose that mana at the end of turn. Why don't we pump it all into Astral Cornucopia? X live. It's an artifact and it ends the battlefield with X charge counters on it. Tap, choose a color, add 1 mana of any color, of that color for each charge counter on it. So, say we make 20 mana. We can cast this for 18, X being 6 3 times. And then we've got 6 mana ready to go whenever we want. We can just tap it for that 6 mana. Amazing, stores the mana. It's exactly what I want to be doing. Everflowing Chalice, another great way of doing this. 0 mana. God's sake. Sorry. Multi-kicker of 2, and you can do this as many times as you want when you cast it. And there's a battlefield with a charge counter on it for each time it was kicked, and you tap it to add colors for each charge counter on Everflowing Chalice. So this is another great way of storing all of your mana. Then we've got Genesis Wave, triple green and X. This doesn't store your mana, but if we're making tons of mana, this can generate so much advantage. Reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put a number of permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less for a month. Oh, God, I'm sweating. Falling to pieces here. It's all these dragons. You just dump the top of your library onto the field. I'm going to try and get through this as fast as possible now. I can't speak. Animus Awakening, a green and X. Sorcery, reveal the top X cards of your library, put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you just turn over your library, put all of your lands into play. It's like we've stored the mana, like with Everflowing Chalice, but it's better in every way. Then another interesting one here. Cryptic Trilobite, double X for a 0/0. Enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counter on it. Remove a 1/1 counter from it, make double colorless. Spends mana only to activate abilities. Pay 1 and tap it, put a 1/1 counter on it. So this, we can dump all the mana into it, and then we can use the mana to activate abilities on maybe something like a Helix Pinnacle. Because this is the card that I thought of when I saw this card first. You know, make a bunch of mana, put all the tower counters on, and then we win the game. But because of that, our commander, we have to filter it some way. So the Trilobite is a good way. Shroud. Put X tower counters on it for X mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 10, imagine 100 or more tower counters on a Helix Pinnacle, you win the game. It's pretty good. And then finally, Genesis Hydra. Potentially, this could go through your entire deck and get the exact permanent you want. Double green and X. When you cast a spell, reveal the top X card of your library. You may put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield and shuffle the rest into your library. Enters with X 1/1 counters, so this can search up whatever you want with all the mana that you've got. Which brings me on to number 2. And at number 2, we've got Sneak Attack. So a lot of these big creatures, they have massive casting costs, but we want to get them onto the field as soon as possible and get swinging to get a bunch of mana. A lot like the sort of ritual theory I was talking about. 4 mana for an enchantment. Pay red. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Sacrifice the creature at the beginning of the next end step. So yeah, we do have to sacrifice it, big whoop. But we get to plow things onto the field and just get tons of value. Perforus, Bronze Blooded. Very, very similar card. 5 mana for a 7/6 indestructible. It's not a creature if you don't have 5 devotion. Other creature you control will gain haste, so really nice. Everything you play, just get in there straight away, generate loads of mana. And then you can pay 3, you may put a red creature card or an artifact creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Really, really solid creature, you know, it's a nice god. And it's a 7/6, so if you do manage to attack with it, you're going to be getting 7 mana. Then, if we've got all these massive creatures, Rishkar's Expertise, phenomenal. 6 mana for a sorcery. Draw cards equals the greatest power among creatures you control. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 5 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So, sort of cheating, you know. It didn't get to attack this turn unless we got a haste enabler, but we get to cheat something into play. And then we've got Ilhag, the Razorboar, the big pig. 5 mana for a 6/6 with trample, so when it attacks, we're going to get 6 mana. But when it attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand into the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Return that creature to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. And then there's some other text about if it dies, put it into your library, third from the top. But the thing to remember about this effect is, with the other ones, sneak attack and stuff like that, you can put them in before combat, and then you get the attack trigger. So you're going to be able to generate the mana from our commander. But with this, yes, when it attacks, we get 6 mana from the ball itself attacking. But the putting the creature into play, it doesn't count that other creature as attacking. So you won't get the mana from that. So just remember that. Which brings me on to my number 1 pick. And at number 1, we got Seize the Day. So our commander cares about when we attack. So let's attack multiple times. And why don't we cast multiple spells off all that mana? Seize the Day, 4 mana for a sorcery. Untap target creature. After this main phase, there's an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. Flashback for 3 mana, so we can cast it from our graveyard for 3. So we want to untap our commander, or, you know, the biggest thing we have, because our commander untapping gets us another trigger, generates us loads more mana. Absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that you can do this twice in just one card, absolutely brilliant. Scourge of the Throne. 6 mana for a 5/5 flying. It has dethrone, so when this creature attacks the player with the most life, or tied for the most life, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then, when it attacks for the first time each turn, if it's attacking the player with the most life, or tied for the most life, untap all attacking creatures after this main phase and an additional combat phase. Absolutely phenomenal. Extra turns with this commander. Brilliant. This is a dragon. Love it. Then, I was talking earlier about the fact that there's activated abilities that you could use the mana on. Here, we have 2 of them, but you can't use this commander's ability. But we're going to have loads of mana from, you know, all the sort of investments that we put in, our trilobites, stuff like that. So we can use these if we have mana knocking around. And it just works fantastic with the commander. Anyway, Hellcat Charger, 6 mana for a 5/5 flying haste. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 7. If you do, untap all attacking creatures, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Pretty goddamn good. Loads of value. Then we've got Aggravated Assault. 3 mana for an enchantment, pay 5, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability only any time you could play a sorcery. So just combat after combat after combat. Works exceptionally with that first dragon I showed you. I can't remember its name. Because that makes us 6 mana when we attack that can be used on this. So we end up generating infinite mana, infinite combat. Everyone's dead. And those are my top 5 cards for this brand new commander. Really, really cool. Sorry about the coughing. I am falling to pieces, it seems. But, you know, I'm sure I'll be all right. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.